Thank you. I'm really pleased to stand here today in front of an audience with people from so many different walks of life. Each of our lifestyles differs from one another, crafted by one fundamental tool, that is choice. Now, we tend to feel completely in control of our lives. Well, at least I hope you do. But life is only controllable to a certain extent. Now, how did I come to this discovery? Well, it was the moment that my spine chose to take on the shape of a swan neck instead of a straight line. It was only at the end of last year that my 55-degree scoliosis was discovered. Let me repeat that, 55 degrees. Believe it or not, but one could even calculate the sine of my spine. Although such discoveries have the potential to make life difficult, they're only one of the many events in life that we just don't get to control. They just knock on your door, and in my case, could have physically prevented me from pursuing my life as a pianist. However, actually, I think it's so much more powerful to focus on the ways in which we can control or change our lives. And for that reason, in this talk, I would like to share a few of the life-changing lessons that I learned at the piano. And I guess you could say that playing the piano is not just about struggling on Bach and Mozart. Firstly, to be a high aimer is to be a high achiever. Before elaborating further on that, I would like to take you 9 years back in time. When I started playing the piano, and still look like this, it wasn't really love at first sight. Though when I immersed myself in the classical piano repertoire, I knew that there would be nothing more fascinating than sharing this beautiful sound with an audience as a concert pianist. And so from that moment on, 9-year-old me, whilst barely being able to play anything at the piano yet, was determined to get accepted to a conservatoire. And eventually I was. In retrospect, I know now that if you have a goal in mind that you're willing to sacrifice everything for, then you're so close to actually achieving it already. Just like my father always told me, if you invest 10,000 hours of your time in anything, then you will eventually become an expert at it. And the sky really is the limit. And actually, it's not just the goal of becoming an expert that really is important to you, but it's the process that makes your investments truly worthwhile. It is the road to your goals that makes your investments really valuable and belonging to you. Now, fast forward 3 years, I learned more than I could ever have imagined at the conservatoire, and I gave my very first solo recital. And afterwards, a lovely couple, they came up to me and they asked me the question that would later be ranked first in my personal FAQs. It was the, "Are your parents musicians as well?" kind of question. And for those who want to ask me this question as well, I've got you covered already. Because, interestingly, many musicians of my age, they would be explaining for the next 10 minutes how their parents told them to play the piano or the viola before they could even walk, or talk, or even breathe in some cases. Yet for me it was completely different, since the only classical music that I heard as a kid came from the radio. And when I started playing, I was lucky enough to have a teacher who saw how much I enjoyed playing the piano, and she decided to present me to the School for Young Talent in The Hague. Now, that was one unexpected moment that changed my life forever. My next unexpected moment happened during a lesson at the conservatoire, in which my teacher played me a piece by the French composer Maurice Ravel. And I was new to this composer. This was a new name to me. And as the room filled with this unique and stunning sound, I can vividly remember how it lit a fire in me. How I reached a state of immense astonishment and surprise. I learned then that you really don't know who or what you're missing out on unless you open yourself up to the unexpected. Next, I was introduced to lesson trio, quite literally. And for those who are unfamiliar with a piano trio, it usually consists of a pianist, a cellist, and a violinist. And when I'm playing with my piano trio, the crucial part of it is the communication. As I'm seated at the piano with Elsa as a violinist and Douwe as a cellist in front of me, the crucial part is really how we communicate with each other, and even energy is communicated through the musical phrases that interact just beautifully with one another. The three of us are lifting each other up to produce a sound that is far greater than we could ever have produced by ourselves. And that's only one example of a deeply inspirational collaboration. However, Elsa, Douwe, and I would have been nowhere without the right coaching. And so let's also take a moment to think of one inspirational teacher that's meant a lot to you. Why did they have such an influence on you? Good teachers, they support you in every single one of your goals. Great teachers, however, they have the ability to recognize their students' potential and to get the absolute best of their students' abilities to the surface. So immerse yourself in an environment that's fueled by inspirational teachers and invaluable collaborations. My fourth lesson is to focus on your weaknesses. And for those who think, I've heard this one 1,000,000 times before already. Trust me, you'll learn it eventually. The hard way. At least I did. In my first years at the conservatoire, when I came home from a long day of school and sat myself down at the piano, I saw that as my moment to wind down and to relax for the day. And the music was like a soothing drug to me. So I just played and overdosed myself with the music until I felt very relaxed. And then I would leave the piano after a few hours. However, lesson after lesson, my progress stagnated and I didn't live up to the expectations. It was then that I realized that the reason was that I confused playing and studying with one another. I just didn't really study, by which I mean studying every single musical phrase and harmony and voice in the piece in detail. Because that is where I would find my weaknesses. I just tend to lack precision. Focusing on your weaknesses is hard and tiring and frustrating at times, but you would be much better off studying your weaknesses for half an hour, just half an hour a day, and choosing the easy way out for hours on end. Lastly, a lesson that's very personal to me. And this lesson, in our modern society, we tend to specialize our lives, to choose one thing over another. And as a pianist, I developed a love for medicine. However, should I really only pursue one interest in my life? I struggled a lot with that question. Nowadays, it's almost as if the success of a career is defined by specialization, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to keep up with the fast pace of advancements and the competition. But success is very personal to every single one of us. So, on a black and white spectrum, where black is the homo universalis, the man with countless talents and occupations, and white is a very specialized profession, say a psychobiogeochemical data model analyst, then your success can be one of the many shades of gray. There are always opportunities to combine your interests, even if it's outside of your studies. And if that is what gives you energy, and fulfillment in life, then I encourage you to take hold of that opportunity. Now, with that, I've introduced you to a few of the many ways in which the piano has navigated and will continue to navigate my life. And whatever happens in life, if it takes a 180-degree turn, or 55 degrees in my case, you should always keep close to your sources of inspiration and love. Because that is what will keep you grounded, but it will also remind you of what you truly value deeply in life. I'm sorry. Because that's pursuing what you really value deeply is what you can control. And so after my hopefully successful spine surgery coming summer, hopefully I will turn to the piano and pour my heart out into the following piece.